Hello everyone, this is Miss Cookie and I will be discussing about ABG analysis, and it will be made easy using the husband-wife mistress method. Now, it's actually the same steps with what's written in your book, but I just added spice into it so that it will be easier to remember. All right, let's look at normal values of your ABG. So we will be discussing about your pH, your partial pressure of carbon dioxide in arterial blood, and your bicarbonate. So when we're talking about your PaCO2, we're discussing or we are referring to your respiratory aspect. Now, if we're talking about your bicarbonate, it's the metabolic aspect, okay? Don't forget about that. Now, let's look at the values. If the value of your lab result, the pH is less than 7.35, that is acidosis. Now, if it's more than 7.45, alkalosis. If your PaCO2 is less than 35, that's alkalosis. If more than 45, acidosis. Bicarbonate is less than 22, that's acidosis. And if more than 26, that's alkalosis. Now, how do we remember this? Okay, how do we remember this? It's difficult to remember, ma'am. Okay, Rome. That's how you remember it. Rome means respiratory opposite, metabolic equal to pH. You can see it here. They are opposites, and your metabolic portion or your bicarbonate, they are equal. You notice that? Okay. Don't forget about that. All right, this is how I do my ABG analysis, okay? So, I call it the husband-wife mistress steps to ABG analysis. All right, the steps would be, first is to label acidosis or alkalosis. Next is to find the husband, okay, and identify if the pH is acidosis or alkalosis. And then we look at which of the value, which between PaCO2 or the bicarbonate is the same with the pH, and that's the wife. We identify whether the wife is respiratory or metabolic. And then the other one, the mistress, we will be identifying whether it's compensated, partially compensated, or uncompensated. Let's do this. First example, this is our lab results. Let's analyze this one. I'll make the notes available. All right. First step, label acidosis or alkalosis. Let's look at your pH. Okay? pH is increased. Therefore, it's alkalosis. Next, your carbon dioxide is decreased. Therefore, what is it? It's alkalosis still, right? Next, bicarbonate is decreased. Now look at, it's decreased, so it's acidosis. Acid. All right, we've done the first step. Now let's look at the husband, the pH. Is your pH acidosis or alkalosis? It's definitely alkalosis. All right. Now, how about the wife? How about the wife? Which of the following, which of them is the wife? The one that is the same with your pH. It's your carbon dioxide. Okay? Your carbon dioxide is representative of it represents the respiratory. All right. How about the mistress? Let's look at the bicarbonate. The bicarbonate is the mistress. So let's see. How do we say it's compensated? It's gonna be compensated if your pH is normal. But it isn't. It is not normal. Therefore, let's look at, is it partially compensated? It means that your mistress is doing something to make your pH normal, to make the husband normal. Okay? Is your mistress doing something to make your pH normal? Yes. It became abnormal so that it will counteract the wife's abnormality. Okay? Therefore, yes, your mistress is doing something, but it isn't very effective though as of the moment. So it's partially compensated. So when you say it's uncompensated, if the mistress is within normal range, it means that it's not doing anything. I don't care if the husband is abnormal. Okay? That's how you say it's uncompensated. But with this example, it's definitely partially compensated. So this result is respiratory alkalosis partially compensated. Okay? Let's now go to the next example. All right. pH of 25, 7.25, carbon dioxide of 37, and bicarbonate of 18. Let's bring the notes up. Okay. Label acidosis or alkalosis. The first thing is we have to do is just label if it's increased, decreased. Okay. pH is definitely decreased. Carbon dioxide is normal. Next, bicarbonate is decreased. So let's identify. pH decrease is acid. Bicarbonate decrease is acid as well. All right. So we've done this first step. Next step, identify the husband. Is the pH acidosis or alkalosis? And it's acidosis. Circle that one. Now let's look at the wife. Which of the following? Carbon dioxide or bicarbonate is the wife. The one that is the same with the pH. It's the bicarbonate. Therefore, bicarbonate is what? Representative of your metabolic. Okay. Metabolic. Now let's look at the mistress. Who's the mistress between the two? Of course, this is the mistress, your carbon dioxide. Now, let's see. Is it compensated? Again, we can only say compensated if the pH is normal. But then, your pH is abnormal, therefore we can't use compensated. Is it partially compensated? We can only say it's partially compensated if your carbon dioxide or if your mistress is doing something to counteract the wife's abnormality. Is it doing something though? No. It's normal. Therefore, it's not doing anything. It's uncompensated. So this result is metabolic acidosis uncompensated. Okay, let's look at the third example. This is a third example. Notes out, please. Ta-dang. All right. First step, label. Your pH is decreased. Your carbon dioxide is decreased. Your bicarbonate is decreased. Let's identify. pH decrease is acidosis. Carbon dioxide decrease is alkalosis. Bicarbonate decrease is acidosis. So we're done with the labeling. Husband. Let's look at the husband. Acidosis, alkalosis. It's acidosis. The wife. So which is the wife? This is the same. These are the same rather. Therefore, your bicarbonate is the wife, representative of your metabolic. Let's look at the mistress. Okay. Is the mistress doing something? Is the mistress doing something? Yes. Okay, let's look. Is it compensated? No, because your pH is abnormal. Therefore, it's not fully compensated. Is it partially compensated? Yes, your carbon dioxide is doing something. Your mistress is doing something. However, it's not effective because it did not normalize your pH. Therefore, it's partially compensated. So this result is metabolic acidosis partially compensated. All right. Example number 4. I want you to pause and do the example yourself before you continue. All right. Let's look at this result. Notes out, please. Chudung. Ayan. All right. First is label. pH is normal. Your carbon dioxide is increased and your bicarbonate is also increased. Let's identify is your carbon dioxide increase, that's acidosis. Your bicarbonate increase, it's alkalosis. How do we do this, ma'am? Miss Cookie, how do we do this? How do we identify the husband in this manner? Husband is normal. How do we do this? Okay, this is how we do it. Okay, let's look at your pH. Again, your pH, the normal range of your pH is 7.35 to 7.45. Now, between this and this, where is your 7.37 closer to? Your 7.37 is closer to your 7.35 in the lower portion, closer there. Therefore, we can consider it as like the decreased portion, so it's acidosis. Just put a note there, acid. It's closer to the acid. So that's how we identify. So your 7.37, though normal, it's closer to the acid. Therefore, we encircle acidosis. And then let's look at the wife. So now that we have a value here in your pH, who is the wife? Okay, your carbon dioxide is the wife, the respiratory. Now the mistress, let's see. The mistress is your bicarbonate. The question is it compensated? Yes, because it's normal. The pH is normal. Therefore, it's compensated. This result is respiratory acidosis compensated. All right, next example. Notes out, please. All right, first step, label. Okay, 7.44 is normal. Your carbon dioxide is increased. Your bicarbonate is also increased. Let's see. Your carbon dioxide, if increased, is acid. Your bicarbonate, if increased, is alkalosis. All right. You know how to do this? Your 7.44, though normal, which is closer. I mean, although your pH is normal, so is it closer to your acidosis or your alkalosis? It's closer to your 7.45. So you write here alkalosis here. So we now identify its alkalosis. Let's look at the wife. So, the one that is the same with your pH is your bicarbonate, the metabolic portion. Let's look at the mistress, the carbon dioxide. Okay? Your carbon dioxide, is it compensated? Yes, it's compensated because your uh, your pH became normal. It means that your carbon dioxide actually became uh, adjusted itself or compensated in order to normalize your pH. Therefore, this result is metabolic alkalosis compensated. Some will say fully compensated, I don't mind. Still the same. Next example. Here. Notes out? Ta-dang. All right. Label acidosis or alkalosis. pH is increased, carbon dioxide is decreased, your bicarbonate is decreased as well. pH increase is alkalosis. Carbon dioxide decrease is alkalosis. Bicarbonate decrease is acidosis. Okay, we're done with labeling. Now identify the husband. Husband is alkalosis. How about the wife? Who is the wife? It's the carbon dioxide, the respiratory. The mistress. Is the mistress compensated, partially or uncompensated? It can never be compensated because your pH is normal. Now, is it partially compensated? Yes, it is. Because your bicarbonate, your mistress is doing something to normalize the pH but not successful. Therefore, it's partially compensated. This is respiratory alkalosis, partially compensated. How about this one? How about this? Okay, notes out. I believe this is the last example. Here, label. This is decreased, your pH. Your carbon dioxide is increased. Your bicarbonate is normal. Okay. Now, pH, if decreased, it's acidosis. How about your carbon dioxide? If your carbon dioxide is increased, it's also acidosis. Okay, we're done with the labeling. Let's now go to the husband. Is the husband acidosis or alkalosis? Is pH acidosis or alkalosis? Acidosis. Now let's look at the wife. Who is the wife? The one that is the same with the pH. Your carbon dioxide is the wife. It's the respiratory portion. Now, how about the mistress? Let's look at the mistress. Who is the mistress? Your bicarbonate. Is your mistress doing something to help your pH? The husband to get normal? So again, it can never be compensated because your pH is abnormal. Is it partially compensated? When do we say it's partially compensated? When the mistress is doing something. Is the mistress doing something? It's normal eh. So, not partially compensated. It is uncompensated. Therefore, this result is respiratory acidosis uncompensated. All right. Do this yourself. Take this down and do this yourself. You may write your answers in the comment. Okay. ABG is easy, right? Yes, it is really easy. So I hope you learned so much today. And that's it. Till the next fun-filled learning. Ta-ta!